Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Discussing fantasy football from two teams that are inside the top 20k. Firstly, go through my team, which is currently sitting inside the top 5,000 in the world, and then we'll go through Ben's team sitting in 20,000. So, firstly, my side is currently sat inside the top 5,000 in the world, and looking at the side from the previous week, which got 87 points. Pope, who's been incredible, with yet another clean sheet. Trippier with bonus points galore, but 69% of people have now got Trippier, which is quite some number compared to Pope, only 24.6%. Henry from Brentford, probably need to dispose of him at some point, but he's been good for a clean sheet this week. Lewis, who was a bit of a punt, only getting the 1 point, and then big points from Haaland, of course, who everybody's got. Kane with yet another goal, De Bruyne with an assist, Rashford on fire at the minute, and Saka, who I brought back in this week, who got a goal and some more bonus points. Only 23% of people have got Saka. What do you think of that?
Well, my team, Trippier, I made a bit of a mistake. I got rid of him after the World Cup break because I thought a high percentage of players had him, up to 60%. But straight away he was back in because he's almost as important as Haaland, Trippier, for the value of money. My goalkeeper, so Edison, probably a bit too pricey for what he's offering, but he got a clean sheet in his last game, so might as well stick with him. White, he's been very good for me. I've had him pretty much all season, if not all season. Very good value for money. The only problem is I've left him out a couple of times and have some valuable points on the bench. Tottenham away, for example. Dan Burn, I think you need to, the amount of clean sheets Newcastle have had, I have to have probably two defenders, or Pope and another defender.
Yeah.
And Dan Burns very cheap.
What's
4.5 million.
4.5 million.
4.5 million, is he? No, he's gone up. 4.6. And only 3.5% of people own him, which is very good value, really.
It is good value. Yeah, because Pope's got 24.6%.
Ben White doesn't seem to be very popular, and he's 4.7, only 13.9%, which, again, Arsenal keep a lot of clean sheets.
Yeah.
After the World Cup break, I did initially have Martinelli in my midfield, but for some reason I thought Odegaard was going to be the better option, and he's done very well. And again, only 31.7%, which 117 points and 6.9 million. I think that's, in my opinion, is a must-have. He's similar to De Bruyne, but about half the price.
Yeah, well, I've got the Saka route rather than the Odegaard route, and Saka served me well. I just brought him back in this week after took him out last.
I think with Odegaard, yeah, Saka is tempting, but Odegaard's on set pieces and his assists and goals this season. That's why I think maybe he's got the slight edge because he's cheaper.
Well, Saka's
and on set pieces.
Saka's on penalties.
Salah, I mean, I'll probably look at taking him out soon. It's 103 points, and you compare that to Odegaard's. Rodrigo, I've just put him in this week for Rashford, which was a bit of a risk because I thought, well, Man U were playing Arsenal away. Rodrigo, not many people have it. Take a punt, but it ended in a 0-0 draw, and he got booked. Almiron, I never had him all season, and then I put him in after the World Cup, partly because I thought Newcastle will still do well, but since I put him in, he's not really performed. He's maybe had one goal and one assist. Harry Kane, which I think is not, I wouldn't say a must-have, but nearly a must-have. And then obviously Haaland's a must-have. And then I've put Ivan Toney back in for Mitrovic. Mainly because Brentford's fixtures look a bit more kind, and Tony has more points, so I think that was a better option.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of moving Mitrovic out in my side as well. I think I've held on to Mitrovic all season, and these three forwards, Haaland, Mitrovic, and Kane, have been incredible for me. I haven't changed those for weeks and weeks, so they've proved excellent for Haaland. And from week number one, go through week one team in a second. But if we look at the defenders, so quickly on the defenders, and the top seven defenders. Top seven defenders are either Arsenal or Newcastle defenders. Trippier top by a distance, 141 points for the season. Shah in there next with 97, then Saliba 91, and Burn has 3.5% of people, and he's got 87 points, so just 10 less than Shah and considerably cheaper. And similar thing for Botman as well, 85 points, and only 5.9% of people have Botman as well, which is quite incredible. Gabriel also in there for Arsenal, and then White for Arsenal as well. They're the top seven defenders, 3 Arsenal and 4 Newcastle. And then after that, it's Ben Mee for Brentford, and then unbelievably Cancelo, who's not been even playing that much recently, is still in amongst the best defenders. Shaw is also.
I think, well, I've got Shaw as well. But I think Dan Burn is a bit less of a fashionable player that people don't even really think to put him in.
I think that could be it. Yeah, it's very strange. He plays 90 minutes pretty much every week, barring the cup. Yeah, a very solid selection. So I think defence.
Why wouldn't you put on him? That's the thing.
Well, exactly. Defensive-wise, looking at Newcastle's fixtures coming up, they've got West Ham, Bournemouth.
I think Shaw, he's had some good, but
no, but just looking at Newcastle's fixtures, they're coming up West Ham at home, Bournemouth away, Liverpool at home. Even that you could see them getting a clean sheet in. Then Brighton at home, and then it's Man City away and Wolves at home and Forest away. So the fixtures for Newcastle defence look again pretty solid there. Arsenal's fixtures, they've got Everton away, which could well be a clean sheet. Brentford at home, Man City at home, which is a tough one. Villa away, Leicester away, Bournemouth at home, Fulham away. So again, Arsenal defenders should be picking up a decent amount of clean sheets in that. So it's interesting. Ben Mee for Brentford, though. I mean, they haven't kept loads of clean sheets. He's scored a couple of goals and an assist and a fair few bonus points. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. Brentford have got Southampton.
Yeah, I think Brentford play defenders normally sort of thing.
Certainly tend to do better.
Yeah, no one really thinks about players, do they?
Well, I thought about it with Henry. That's why I bought Henry in 2 weeks ago. Injured last week, but back in this week and getting a clean sheet against Leeds, although Leeds were very dominant in that game. I'm going to flick back to my week one team versus current team now. So the only players that have survived from week one for me are Haaland, Kane. I actually had Burn on week one. I had Pope, Haaland and Kane, and Martinelli. Actually, I've had Salah for a lot of the season. Those four have been good for me. Yeah.
Have any accidents since it's come good?
Hmm. What do you say? He frozen. He froze there for a moment. Yeah, well, I had Burn and White in at the start of the season, unbelievably. But Trippier now and Pope. Yeah, it's interesting. And so what about potential transfers for the next week?
Potential transfers. I'm thinking because of the probable or potential double game week, I'm thinking Fernandes.
Fernandes from Man United could play Leeds on Wednesday, the 8th of February, currently scheduled, but it depends on FA Cup results, as long as they both avoid it.
In good form. A low percentage of people have him, I think less than 10%. And yeah, it's just a bit of an alternative to I think Salah has to go, and I think he's going to be playing probably 2 games. Salah's got Wolves away. Liverpool can't score. Wolves are fairly tightish at the back, so I think it's a no-brainer, really.
Fernandez has got.
What about you?
Well, I think Fernandez could be a decent shout if Man United do play 2 games that week. He is owned currently by just 7.4% of players. He's an expensive price at 9.9 for what he is, but if he's playing 2 games in a week, then you can get him in there for a week and you can afford him. I think then he's probably worth a punt for a week. Rodrigo for Leeds is potential as well. I think he's only earned by 8.4%. If he's got 2 games in a week, he's probably one to bring in as well, especially at a reasonable price. But those are the players you've got to be looking. If it doesn't end up being 2 games in a week, then it's probably a slightly different thing. Man City and Arsenal have both got double game weeks coming up very soon, although they play each other in that double game week, so slightly trickier to navigate. That's why I'm probably holding on to De Bruyne for now. And yeah, well, Odegaard. If I brought in Odegaard, I'd have 3 Arsenal midfielders, which would be interesting. But it wouldn't be if you look at the actual points wise. Odegaard number 1 in the midfield table, Saka number 3, and Martinelli number 7. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world looking at those stats anyway. But yeah, I'm certainly considering that. But we'll bit of time to ponder between now and the return of the Premier League on the 3rd of February. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I actually think one for the future as well. Not now, but maybe Chelsea defenders, because I know that they're not in good form. They're not playing that particularly well, but they've just had a clean sheet, and I think they'll get solid at the back. That's something to think for the future.
Well, goalkeeper Kepa is quite popular because of his price. 7.1% of people, 4.6 million price-wise. If he continues to play, which looks likely for the foreseeable future. Chelsea got Fulham at home, West Ham away, Southampton at home, Spurs away, potentially tricky there. Then Leeds at home, Leicester away, Everton at home, Villa at home, Wolves away, Brighton at home. It's pretty good fixtures for Chelsea. It depends whether they can sort that defence out. Certainly interesting. 2 clean sheets in a row for them. So and they're not, even though they were losing a lot of games, they haven't ever really been conceding too many. It's more been the scoring at the other end that's been difficult. The only real bad result was at Brighton, where they got done 4-1. The only real game where they conceded loads was that Brighton game where they lost 4-1. The rest of the games they're not conceding loads, 1s and 2s, and then obviously clean sheets mixed in there. They've only conceded, and they didn't concede during the last 2. So interesting for Chelsea. Yeah, interesting for Chelsea one. Yeah. Well, I think we'll draw that to a close and have a look at other transfers nearer the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if there's any injuries after the FA Cup weekend.
Yeah, see what happens this FA Cup weekend. See if there's any injuries. See if Man United and Leeds get through or get knocked out conversely, and see if that extra fixture happens. And also keep an eye on the League Cup, because that will have ramifications in a couple of weeks' time, depending on who gets to the final of those teams. You could have Arsenal. Sorry, not Arsenal. You could have Newcastle or Man United both having gaps if they both reach the final, which they look like the 2 likeliest teams to get through, but we'll see. You never know. Certainly, if Man United and Newcastle do have a gap on that week, it could make things interesting. What date is the actual League Cup final? The 4th of March.
25th.
The 25th.
Yeah, I think
26th of February.
Finals on the 25th.
26th, not 4th of March. It's the week.
26th.
So Arsenal.
If Man U and Newcastle get, there's going to be Man U, Brentford, and then Newcastle, Brighton. So
Brighton, yeah. Well, you see, that would be a good fixture for Newcastle in terms of potentially attack and defence. But Brighton, I've been doing well, so maybe not. And then Man United, Brentford, yeah, you'd think that'd be especially Brentford away, who aren't as good away. versus at home. That would be a good fixture for Man United. So that could really change things around if both those two sides don't have a fixture that weekend. Also, so affects if anyone's got any Brighton players and Brentford players. So that's quite interesting. Interesting. Conversely, if Forest got through, they play West Ham. Southampton get through, they play Leeds. But yeah, so that's one to consider. Man United, they could have a double game week next week, but then they could miss out on that week. So that's one to consider. Okay, yeah, we'll leave it for now and discuss again in the near future. Goodbye, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.